Hello! Today I'd like to show you how to get started using FamilySearch.org for web indexing. Web indexing is a great way to help with family history research efforts. Even if you're not working on your own family's records, you can help others more easily find their ancestors through web indexing. Now maybe you're brand new to this and aren't even sure what web indexing is. What it is, it's helping make digital copies of historic records like marriage certificates and birth records and census documents so that they're more readable to others. So how do you get started? Well, from the Family Search home screen, once you're logged on, you want to look at the top on the menu options there and select indexing and then web indexing, which will bring you to this screen. There are a lot of really user-friendly tools in the Family Search web indexing feature. I just find that I like seeing someone use them or seeing them in use so that I can better understand the purpose and the benefit of all of those different tools. So the first thing you want to do once you're on the web indexing screen is select the Find Batches button. A batch is a group of records of one type. So you can see from this list there's marriage records here, there's passports here, more marriage certificates here. So it's just one type of record and it's a whole bunch of them. Over here on the left you can select the difficulty level. I've just got it selected at beginning, and then you can also select the language, and they have lots of different languages if you know a language other than English. I don't, and so I'm just going to be searching for English records. You can see the search is already up because I have mine preset, but you can change that too and it'll change the list. If for some reason you don't have any batches popping up once you've selected all these features, you can hit search and see what pops up that way. You'll notice a few of these batches are already almost done and the word index is grayed out. For example, in the Fiji passports, that just means even though it's not completely finished, all of the batches have been reserved by other indexers. So I'm just going to select this top one for now, which is the Mississippi County Marriages. And you just want to hit index. And it'll take a little bit to load sometimes, but then this screen will pop up which shows you the image that has been scanned and the instructions for the project. One of the first things that pops up in a separate window is project instructions and what to index. I'm not going to read that right now. This is a kind of batch that I have indexed before, but it's a great resource right from the beginning to help you out with knowing what kind of information you're going to be looking for. And you can see there's lots of links as I scroll through this. If I click on this one, it'll open up an example that's highlighted and numbered with a reference list on the right for the information that they're asking for and where to find it on the document. This opens up in a separate tab, and what I like to do is just leave that tab open while I am indexing so that I can refer back to it as often as I need to. And then I can just close this out so I can look at the document more readily. If you need to look at the project instructions again, this icon that looks like the screen with the list on it with the I next to it is how you pull up those project instructions again. Now you can see this is a pretty small image, so there is a zoom feature on the document, so you can zoom in to see how clear the names are, because the first thing that you're going to need to do before you actually start filling in the information is confirm that there is indexable information on the document. That means, yes, I can read it, yes, there are people's names, yes, the information that I was looking for in the project instructions is on this document, and it automatically defaults to yes for that, and you just hit next. Now, if by chance you see a blank one, or if it's just there's not enough information to go off of, you can select no, it's a duplicate image, or no, no extractable data. Most of the time that doesn't happen, but that's what you do if you open a batch that there's just nothing that you can do with. And you check each one, marking yes, and then it'll bring you to this screen. Like I said before, every batch is different and is going to ask for different details on the information, but I'm going to show you the tools that you have access to no matter what kind of batch you're working on. First of all, over here is the list of the information that you're going to need to fill out. And you can see the first one is certificate number on this particular batch. And I'm active in that field. You can see that by the blinking cursor there. And whatever field you're active in on that left panel will have a question mark in it. If I move down to marriage day, the question mark will move with it. If you click on that question mark, it'll explain what kind of information they're looking for and where to find it and how to enter it in. And always at the bottom it'll have this message: if a certificate number was not recorded for this because it's certificate number, or was written as a variation of the word unknown, press Control B to make this field blank. And you do exactly that. You can click Control B and it'll mark it blank. Another way of doing that is this icon right here that looks like 3 boxes where the middle one is an X. You can click on that and it'll mark that field as blank. One of my favorite tools that has saved my life a number of times while indexing is this icon right here that looks like a pen with the little swirly coming off of it. You can look at this handwriting. It's pretty fancy. I lucked out with the example batch that I selected for this video, because you can see it can get a little hard to read because it's swirls and they're overlapping here a little bit. But this little icon here of the pen will open up this awesome handwriting examples menu, where it has the typed letter at the top, A through Z, and then the most common trends for that particular letter that you will find in indexing. And you can compare what you see on the document with the examples of different handwritings on that handwriting examples tool. That is just awesome, and like I said, it has saved my life a number of times when trying to index. This next tool that we're going to talk about comes in handy because the indexing tool on Family Search doesn't always get things exactly right. So sometimes you'll have a batch where a single image, like the one that we're on right now, has 50 different entries on it. And sometimes it'll have just one. This one in particular only has 2. There's this page, and then this page is a different entry. And so I'm going to need 2, but if you can see, it says entry 1 of 4 over here. So I'm not going to need all 4 of those. So I'll go to 3 and select the trash can. Delete entry. You have 2 options: the current entry or all blank entries. Sometimes if there's just one, you'll select all blank entries. I'm just going to delete the current entry so that it's down to 3, and then do that again so that I just have the 2 that I need. And if you have, for example, 50, like I said before, and you only have 1 or 4 different entries available, you can select this icon and add an entry. The other place that you can do that is down at the bottom. Once this is filled out, this will change and it'll say add entry there. So they do a lot of doubling up on ways that you can update the entry or the batch so that it does what you need it to do. So I paused it just for a little bit so I could fill out some of the entries before showing you another one of the tools. Right now I'm on the second entry of the first image, and these 2 entries were from the same date. And to save a little bit of time, this tool up at the top that looks like the black bar and then the arrow down to the white bar will copy the information from the previous entry because they're the same. So if you just click on that, it'll mark the date, and I can do the same for the month and the year and the marriage place. And so it'll save you a little bit of time when you have something like that where the two entries have the exact same information on certain fields. So I've skipped ahead a little bit further and I've entered some more information. I'm on the third image now, but wanted to show you a couple more of the tools at this point. This one that looks like the 3 boxes with the check next to it, you can check your progress and it'll tell you how many issues, which means unfilled fields, there are left at this point. And you can either accept or close out of it. It does the same thing and you can keep working. If, however, you run out of time and you can't finish the batch, there's also this back arrow that you can click and it'll bring you out of the batch, but it saves it for you for later when you can just open it back up and continue where you left off. And here's what you'll see when you have entered all of the fields. You can double check to make sure. It says no issues found, and then you can either submit batch from here or from down in the corner where it says submit batch. The little paper airplane logo also does it, so there are several different ways to submit it. I'm just going to click the blue button here and it times out, and then it celebrates by giving you some confetti and thanking you for submitting the batch. Then it will ask you if you want a similar batch or to find batches, and by selecting find batches you can go and choose something different. So those are the basics of web indexing using FamilySearch.org. I hope it was helpful and that you learned something and that you can enjoy your time indexing.